I attribute almost all of my major back growth and pulling strength to weighted pull-ups over anything else. They're pretty much the perfect pull exercise for this. They're stable, meaning they're not hard to learn in terms of coordination, and that you can push them close to failure reliably without other factors getting in the way of your set. As soon as you start adding weight, progression is super easy. You just add another plate to the belt. Tracking your pulling strength and your overall program and progress is super easy when you've got perfectly quantifiable numerical values that you can put on the weight that you're pulling, and know that your actual form probably hasn't differed a whole lot because they're not a technical exercise. They're also an exercise that you can load up super heavy and push super hard, and the overall risk of injury stays super duper low. On top of that, it's not just the lats that you're training super effectively with this, it's the whole bunch of elbow flexors that are involved in the pull as well as a lot of the vital stabilizers of the scapulars and the upper back that you'll use for pretty much any pulling exercise. Getting stronger at these hasn't just given me stronger weighted pull-ups, but it's helped build strength for explosive high-level muscle-ups, and because of how effective they are for the lats, I've been able to maintain skills like front lever holds without even training them at this point. Once I got strong enough at these, the temptation was there to swap over and start doing some one-arm pulls. I added these to the program on one day and programmed weighted pull-ups on another day so that I was still hitting pull at least twice a week, but one day was the one arms, one day was the weighted. I made some pretty quick progress with the one-arm pull-ups, doing some banded ones for a few months to get the volume in, and then once I was confident, I pretty quickly got to doing unassisted 1 rep and 2 rep sets without too much trouble and too long having to focus on them. This was where I ran into a wall. For anyone who's tried one-arm pull-ups, you'll find out quick it's not just a pull-up with one arm, there's an entirely different technical demand that comes with the fact that you're hanging from the bar with one hand without another hand to stabilize yourself, and now you're having to use things like your pec and your rotator cuff to control your body position and control all that rotation to stop yourself from spinning or losing some of that scapular control either at the bottom or midway through the pull. Once I started trying to string together more than 2 or 3 reps at a time without any of that second-hand assistance on a band or on the bar, my stability started going all over the place, I was losing control of that rotation, and I hit a wall hard. Effectively developing skill-based movements requires a little bit of frequency. Hitting them at least 2 times a week, sometimes 3 or even 4 times depending on the skill, is what gives your brain optimum exposure to those new movement patterns so that it actually gets adequate opportunity to learn this without big breaks in between each session. And because obviously weighted pull-ups hit so many of the exact same muscles as one-arm pull-ups, there just wasn't room in the program to up that frequency and get a good volume of one-arm pull-up training while still keeping a solid amount of weighted pulling in there too. So for the first time in years, I hung up the belt, put the weights aside, and went back to just bodyweight pull-ups, this time on one arm. The skill development definitely ramped up, and after about 6 months of focusing on mainly just these as my only pull movement, I've now hit a PR of 5 reps on each arm and can reliably get working sets of 3 reps done, meaning that I can easily keep up some kind of maintenance volume without having to do something like 10 sets of 1 rep on unassisted reps or having to bring a band back in instead. Now, over this last 4 to 8 weeks, my one-arm pull-up progress has definitely slowed down a bit again, telling me that my skill development is starting to cap out a little bit and it's time to swap back to those weighted pulls. Luckily, keeping a skill around is so much easier than learning a skill, and your brain takes quite a while to lose these coordination gains that you've made before. My current new set that I started just has 2 sets of one-arm pull-ups at 3 reps each in each week, because I know that even at that low volume, I'll still be able to keep up the mechanics and the movement patterns that I've learnt while I shift a whole lot of my pull volume focus back to weighted pull-ups, which are now on there twice a week around this too. I'm going to give it at least 12 weeks of pushing these hard to ramp up that efficient muscle building and raw strength gain, and I'm super excited to see what that does to my one-arm pull-up strength over that time. And if you want to learn everything there is to learn about getting good at every type of pull-up, check out this video.